Hey, what's up? Oh, what's up? So you're still working on YouTube videos, right? I make YouTube videos? Yeah, didn't you do those Astro's Playroom and Bakugan videos? Give me a minute. Right, I did make those, didn't I? So, all right. Give me a moment. I'll get something going real quick. All right. Oh. Oh. All right. Well, I'm alive. How's it going? We're back. I I feel bad for not uploading anything for 5 months. It has been 5 months since the Bakugan video. Jesus. Time flies, let me tell you. Yeah, to kind of keep it brief for a moment without stretching the video out too long, I got stressed out. Like, very stressed out with nothing really content related, more just like personal life. I was working on the next review, which was supposed to be Doom for Halloween, but life sucked during that time. I tried to make the most out of it, but it was very difficult to keep up with. Couldn't get the video finished, and I just got so stressed out that I couldn't finish it. So I just said, you know what? I'm pushing that video to the side. I ain't canceling it. The Doom video will eventually see the light of day, but sometime next year. I don't know when, but maybe next Halloween. So I know it's gonna be a bit of a wait, but hopefully it'll give me time to like look back at it and maybe improve it a little bit more before actually putting it out. So hopefully that's a good thing, but we'll have to find out. But let's get on with the actual video itself. So with the new year on the way, can't wait for 2025 to be finally over, I wanted to look forward to the new year by making more videos and try to be more efficient with my time doing so, and the best way to do that was to just try work on smaller videos. So let's start with taking a trip to the past with a game I have not played in a very long time, and more importantly to me at least, it's the very first game I ever played. Growing up, there were a small handful of things that interested me. Pokemon, Bakugan, Sonic, Mario, you name it, probably was interested in it at the time. But before all those things, there were two things in particular that really defined my childhood, and that was Legos and Star Wars. I was introduced to these very early on in my life. My memory is a little foggy on what I initially thought of the Star Wars films, aside from, lightsaber go burr. I actually still have this admittedly rather cheap looking Anakin lightsaber like toy that to my surprise was apparently from 2015 if I remember correctly, or where is it on here? Yeah, 2015. I can't believe this has been in my possession for a decade now at this point, so it's pretty neat though. As for Legos, I was just a huge lover of taking these tiny little choking hazards and building all sorts of things out of them. Of course, the thing that drew me even closer to Legos as a kid was the Star Wars sets. I don't have any of the sets I used to have as a kid anymore, and I think the most impressive one I did was the Emperor ship. Not the Star Destroyer, but always wanted one of those too. But then around this time, I would become more and more aware of video games, and that's where my two biggest interests not only came together physically, but also virtually. I want to say rolling back to around Christmas 2005, I think. Again, memory is very foggy, so bear with me on this, but I remember being gifted my very first gaming console, Nintendo Gameboy Advance SP, in this really neat looking blue color because blue is my favorite color. That would also lead to me becoming a Sonic fan for a while, but we can say that for another time. But of course, getting the console was one thing, you need games to use it. And the other gifts I would receive were two games, both of them being Star Wars themed. LEGO Star Wars the video game, the subject of today's video, and Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force. I have almost no memory of the latter, except for it was the game that covered the original trilogy, while the LEGO game covered the prequels. I decided to revisit Apprentice of the Force briefly for this video, very briefly I should stress, and it's pretty much a retelling the entire original trilogy in a 2D side-scroller. Playing through this didn't really help me unlock any core memories, and I don't know if that's the game's fault or just the fact that I barely played it back then. One day I'll give it a proper run and maybe actually finish the damn game, but that's another time. Alright, enough about Star Wars, let's talk about Star Wars but in LEGO. And before we dive into the game itself, a lot of you are probably wondering why I'm even looking at the Game Boy Advance version of this game and not the version released on the GameCube, PS2, Xbox, and PC. The short answer is I never played these versions of the game. And even to this day, I don't see myself changing it because damn it, this is the closest thing I have to reliving something from a time when I was actually happy with my life, so I'm taking this opportunity to take advantage of my nostalgia, fuck you. There isn't much in terms of the game's development history, specifically for the GBA version. A handful of levels that were cut from the final product for the console versions, but that's about the only thing I could find that was worth noting. Then again, I'm sure some are questioning why I'm looking at a game that, no joke, celebrated its 20th birthday this year. I'm only 5 years older than it. If you're unfamiliar with how LEGO games are structured when it comes to referencing the franchises, more often than not, LEGO games tend to be admittedly rather humorous retellings of the stories based on the series itself, although I use that loosely here because the presentation is kind of dull. Cutscenes are shown in these static images that act like PowerPoint presentations with minimal sound effects playing every so often, and assuming you already watched the film, there's no dialogue of any kind, so keeping up with the story is kind of impossible for the most part. LEGO games I played growing up actually didn't really have voice acting to my knowledge, just the occasional grunts and whatnot, so there's that, I suppose. But during gameplay, you can get an idea of what a character is thinking when you see tiny speech bubbles appear over their heads. Good to know that when Qui-Gon finds a Death Star planet guarded by droids, his first thought is to go, "Hey, language, Qui-Gon, there's younglings here. How dare you swearing in my LEGO Star Wars game?" The nerve. And seeing as there's very little in storytelling, I won't bother with a story summary since there really isn't a point to it. Plus, you're free to choose which episode you want to play in any order, so if you just want to do episode 3 and work backwards, you can do that. I decided just for the sake of going at a linear pace to go through the episodes in order, starting with 1, then up to 3. And if you want to experience all the trilogies in a LEGO game, I've heard some decent things about the LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga game. I have yet to play it myself, so a review of it, much like the Astrobot game I talked about during my Astro's Playroom review, that's for another time. I also am aware of LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, which I do own on Steam and have played it a ton in my youth. But maybe another time, I want to do that with a friend or maybe get one of my siblings in on the action. That's one I enjoy more as a multiplayer fun time rather than a single player adventure, but that's just me. So what happens when you take a beloved sci-fi franchise that nowadays seems like it's seen better days and make it into a LEGO game in 2005? Well, you get LEGO Star Wars a video game. Unlike many other games I've experienced on the handheld, this one is played using an isometric view for the camera, which I think works well for this kind of game, even if sometimes it can be a bit wonky when it comes to graphic layering. Like, there are moments where it just looks like I'm standing on top of the enemy's head, like, "Hey, Yoda, get off the clone trooper, man, he's busy." It doesn't distract me by any means, but it is quite noticeable. Controls are as straightforward as they can be. You can use the D-pad to move, although I play this using an emulator with a PS5 controller, so I use my trusty analog stick, and the game does have 8-way directional movement, so that's neat. The A button is to jump, the B button to swing your lightsaber or fire your laser, or throw your balls at the enemies, I know what I said. You use the L button to interact with things that the character you're in control of can do so, and the R button is to use your character's specific ability, which consumes your force gauge, the lightsaber at the top of your screen just below the health meter. Using unique abilities drains the force gauge by a fair amount and slowly refills over time, so you don't always need to hunt for pickups on the ground to do that, though that is still an option. To this day, I'm actually unsure on how certain power-ups work. Like, I know this one increases my damage, these restore health and force gauge respectively, and this one gives me the zoomies, and it looks so goddamn ridiculous, especially when in control of characters like Yoda. It's like he forgot he had shit to do, but really need to take a trip to his local Wawa before doing so. But can someone please tell me what the point of these yellow hearts are for? I know technically I could just, look this up, but if it does anything, I feel like it doesn't work because I don't feel a difference. I'll be picking that shit up regardless because items that spawn after defeating enemies or breaking capsules will fade out of existence after being on the ground for just a few seconds. Some character abilities can be neat, it's all rather generic though. Obi-Wan can use the power of the Force to push enemies back, Qui-Gon can make himself a Force ghost that moves slower than molasses, but enemies can't spot him unless he makes his presence known. Jar Jar can run around with his hands in the air, like you just don't care, and this for some reason does damage. Not every character can use unique skills though, mainly the droids. I don't think R2-D2 has any special skill, not that I could find at least. Then again, I only use R2 when I want to cross a larger than normal gap, or when I need to access these panels that only R2-D2 and R4 can use, which is very rare now that I think about it. In terms of combat, it's not that deep at all. Depending on your character, assuming it's not R2 or R4, because I love these little guys, I really do, but their methods of attack is dropping motion-detected landmines that I swear rarely work. Like, I find myself doing damage to myself to trigger them because the enemy AI is rock bottom stupid at times and they don't move. You swing your lightsaber around or take a shot at your target and kill them before they kill you, and that's assuming you can even hit the fuckers because this isometric view can really fuck with me sometimes, and if it's not the hit detection, though I rarely feel like that was an issue, Although, now that I think about it, collision can be a little funky at times, like, yes, Yoda, just run in place. There is clearly an invisible wall in your way. Or when I got stuck on this ledge trying to make a jump until I turned a different direction. I tend to avoid characters with blasters because in order for them to attack, they have to come to a complete standstill, and even though you can hold down the attack button to charge up a shot, once you stop moving, you better have a good reason for charging that shot to begin with. Blaster characters just felt so awkward to use for me. Even as a kid, I avoided using them and stuck to lightsabers, not just because they were awesome, but because they were so much more reliable. I can do a slam attack when I jump in the air, I got a 3-hit combo that can wreck enemies, and some of them even get these fun jump flips they do. In terms of level progression story, if you can even call it that, you go through the stages collecting studs and such, destroying enemies, and maybe solve a puzzle if the budget allows it. And by that, I mean episode 3, because clearly episode 3 got all the love in this game. It was the most recent release anyway. Not only being the longest in the game, at least it felt like that with how massive some stages were, like the 2 times you go to Kashyyyk that take forever, because holy fuck, there was so much running around in these areas, especially on the first visit. But there's also this button puzzle that, alright, I need to confess something. As a kid, I actually got stuck on this because I never made the connection that the left side buttons give you the solution. Fuck, I was incredibly stupid back then, and honestly, probably explains a lot about me today. And when it comes to the story or lack of, there's a lot of things that go missing. Like your first visit to Tatooine in episode 1, you don't have Qui-Gon's brief encounter with Darth Maul here. Oh, he shows up, but he never engages with you in any capacity whatsoever until you fight him at the end of the episode. In episode 2, that complete waste of a time of a film, you start the episode with Anakin going to Tatooine to get revenge on the Tusken Raiders when he finds his mother at death's door. Like, what? Like, okay, I know I said I wasn't going to do a story summary, but episode 2 in this game is Anakin's Tusken Raider massacre, Obi-Wan's visit to the Geonosis factory, followed by Anakin and Padme's visit, and then the fight against Count Dooku with Yoda. And folks, I shit you not, that's it. That's the episode. Maybe the devs also didn't like this one. Honestly, I don't blame them whatsoever. At least episode 3 was accurate with the story for the most part. You start with beating the shit out of Count Dooku, and by that I mean I safe spotted his ass using Anakin's lightsaber throwing ability at the staircase. Idiot. There's just a lot of moments from the episodes that are completely absent. This became incredibly apparent when I got to the final battle against Darth Maul in episode 1, and I was like, oh, I'm already done with the episode. Alright then, that's... Huh. This game is a lot shorter than I remember it being, especially nowadays. You can finish this game's story mode in about 3-4 hours, give or take. That's how long it took me, at least. You could probably finish it a lot faster than me, honestly. But that's not entirely a bad thing, and I'll explain why. After completing specific stages, you'll unlock new characters that can be played in the game's free play mode, and when you finish a stage, you'll be shown how many studs you collected, how many enemies you defeated. I believe this one means shots deflected with your lightsaber, I'm not too sure actually, this is what it looks like here, and Death Star plans found. However, with some stages you may come across certain doors you can't get through or ledges that are too high to reach, and that's where the game's free play mode comes in, where you can replay through any stages to your heart's desire and select any characters you want to bring with you. For the most parts. You are locked to bring in only a select few characters, likely because depending on your character choices, the stages might be impossible to finish. However, unlocking these characters is actually a 2-step process. While yes, you will unlock them after completing the stage, you actually need to purchase these characters in order to actually use them, which requires you to farm out studs to purchase them in the menu. This isn't really a bad thing though, it just takes a little bit of time, and if you know where to get a ton of stud payouts, you'll be able to unlock everyone in no time at all. I love unlocking the Tusken Raider so I can get revenge on these fuckers for making my life hell in episode 1. Yeah, how do you like it now, bitch? This is payback for all those godforsaken knockbacks you did to me earlier. On top of new characters becoming available in free play, Yoda will also give you these secret codes that as a kid I actually ignored because I didn't understand what these meant or what to do with them. Remember, this was the very first video game I ever played, so it was to be expected of me, I suppose, that I wouldn't know what to do with these. But now we have technology and I decided to finally try out these secret codes for myself, like this absolute clusterfuck. Let's see here and ha! Got it. Wait, what's this? Sheep mode? What does that mean? Do I get to play as a sheep? Oh no, it's just that... Did that do anything? I don't see a difference. Alright, I guess I'll just press off my life and... Wait, is that... Are the characters making sheep noises? What the fuck? That's hilarious. I wish I was recording my live audio during that because, oh my god, the laughing fit I was having when I found this out was the highlight of my time with this visit. There were even secret codes that let me play as characters that aren't even playable without using them, like some of the battle droids. Does this mean I can sneak around undetected? Let's see here. Nope. If you ever get curious, I do just recommend looking up the entire selection of secret codes online. This game is 20 years old. It can't be that hard to find them, I'm sure. And for you achievement hunting freaks out there, there's this website that was brought to my attention called Retro Achievements. Basically, it's an achievement website with, I believe, fan-made achievements to collect for games that likely don't have in-game ones. I didn't bother doing this for my own playthrough. I mostly just wanted to have fun with this one, but maybe one day I'll go back and do these. God knows I already developed a platinum trophy addiction since I got my PS5 earlier this year, so maybe it's just a matter of time. But at this current moment, no thanks. I just want to focus on other things for the time being, like my Final Fantasy Marathon, where I'm playing and platinuming most of the mainline titles. And at the time this video is uploaded, I'm currently working on playing Metaphor for the very first time and getting the platinum for that as well. God help me. Overall, is this a game I can even recommend this year of 2025, 2026 since we're almost there? Of course not. I merely wanted to look at this game because it's the first game I ever played in my life. Without this game, I probably wouldn't have had the kickstart to get into games like I do now. Because of the time I spent with this, I would find myself over the next 20 years of my life experiencing so many other games. Some before I was even born, some during a time where I can play them on release, much to my wallet's displeasure. If not for this silly little Lego game, there wouldn't be a Mario or a Sonic, a Final Fantasy, a Doom, anything really. So, as a result, I can't recommend it, and even if I don't see myself playing this again for quite a long time, if ever, I still have a deep personal connection to this game, and that's all I really need to find some enjoyment in it. I did see you can buy the game on Amazon for like $30, and honestly, I feel like for my nostalgia, I might buy one. This year has been a year I started collecting physical media, mostly games, but even got some vinyls as well, so it's pretty cool. Well, I think that'll wrap up this video nicely. I got a few more small games I want to look at going into 2026, and I really hope that next year is much better than this year was to me. I want to focus on improving my review style, working on more videos throughout. I got one massive, big project I want to work on throughout the year. Will it be ready during next year? Who knows? It's looking to be one hell of a video. Some people may already know what it is, but if you don't, well, feel free to join the Discord. You might get an idea of what it is. But next time, though, we will be meeting with Sonic Rush, another game from my childhood that I haven't played in quite a long time, actually. I think it's been close to at least, I want to say close to a decade since I last played this one in particular. So, yeah. Is that a sign? We'll have to find out, I guess. Anyway, you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time you're watching this video. Take care.